guys, we're back. It's another episode of the Fearless Pursuit of Freedom podcast, and today's guest is another high-level entrepreneur. We'll just jump straight to the chase. We've got the owner of NNG Capital here with us, Fuquan. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. This is an honor.
No, it's awesome. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm excited to see what you're doing. We have a lot of mutual friends, including David Phelps. I saw you most recently with him, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, Dave's awesome. Yeah. I learned a lot from him. He said, don't use the word extract, but when he came out, because he's he was a dentist, so he said, don't use that word around dentists. I was trying to extract as much.
Right.
That day.
Yeah. No, it's great. So, well, before we dig into NNG itself, what have you been doing the past, let's say, 5-10 years, and what made you start NNG?
Well, actually, the note business for me birthed about 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing real estate in late 99, early 2000. I had the opportunity, like most of us, to ride the wave and, benefit from, the banks that were giving loans, with some of the real estate properties I was purchasing and flipping at that time. And then when the market shifted, I basically started to look at other things like short sales. And then I discovered notes in late 2011. 2012, and the investors that I was dealing with at the time didn't even understand the concept. They was used to dealing with real property, being secure by real property. So I had to essentially go over the hill first and get the arrows over my back to understand the paper game. And when I learned that, I was just like, wow, this is, being the bank versus the investor is a whole different mindset. It's a whole different shift.
Yeah.
I dug deep into that and learned that, and launched a fund in 2013. And the main purpose of that was a challenge for my 8-year-old son at the time. And he actually went out and just become the bank. And I was like, that's impossible. And he was like, I thought you said anything is possible. So I researched and figure out how to become a bank and, launch the fund. And the other reason was so I can get assets at a better price, right? Because the more you spend, the seller is going to sharpen their pencil up and you're going to be able to benefit by getting a bigger discount. And then we're able to take that discount and share with the homeowner. So we buy residential 1 through 4 family mortgage notes, whether it's first or second. And we like to keep the homeowners in the home. That was, one of the main reasons also getting into that space where we can, earn passive income, help homeowners share our discount with us and let them continue to be the property manager. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, for the last 5-10 years is really focusing on building out a platform, of buying and trading notes, working them out, building that portfolio. And I still, kept doing real estate as well, now more than ever, because there's a shift in the market with the note business now where we see, pricing increasing and the market is changing because of more people are getting involved. So it's a little bit more, I don't want to use the word competitive, but just more people are becoming aware of this investment, which like anything, if it's more people getting in a shortage of inventory, then pricing would go up. So we're doing a mixture of both now, real estate and mortgage. This is an excellent mixture. We actually just trademarked diversified hybrid real estate investing. And that basically means, having this vehicle where you can invest into mortgage notes and real property. There's a tax benefit where you can take the depreciation from the rentals to offset the ordinary income from the notes. It's just a great opportunity to keep the fund liquidity in the fund also by selling high-end flips, double-digit cap rates from, rentals, and then also performing notes and non-performing notes. So just taking advantage of whatever opportunity that's out there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So with the notes you're buying, you're primarily buying the non-performing and then turning them into performing and keeping the
both.
current note. Yeah.
Both. This is my 4th fund that I had. The first fund that I set up was just focused on non-performing notes. And then the second fund was performing notes. And then the one was performing and non-performing. Now this one is performing, non-performing, and real estate.
Yeah.
Mixture of, if we can target acquisitions of performing notes that have a yield of, if they're first 12 to 15%, if they're second, you can find an average yield of 16%. Mm-hmm. If our average cost of capital is less than 10%, then there's an arbitrage there. So we get the opportunity to offset that debt with performing assets. Now, when we go buy non-performing, we're getting a better discount. So the yields are higher, but those assets take time to work.
Yeah.
While we're taking the time to work those assets in judicial states, which may take longer for foreclosure, we have income coming in from the performing assets. And it's the same thing with the properties, the real property, the flips. As you know, it takes time to rehab a property, have your inspections, put it in the market and sell it. So that's why we also mixed in buying some performing rentals. So we have to have the cash flow coming in from the rentals also. And just the picture of all of that in there, it's awesome, man. Keep that liquidity, that cash flow coming in, and then it's like a buffer against the market too. We don't know what's coming. We don't know if prices are going to decline or where we're heading. So basically, we want to try to have income coming in from all different types of, assets.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think about when you're saying that is the size of the team that you must have to be able to manage and fix these non-performing notes on one side of the office, and then the other side of the office, you've got somebody that's managing your rentals and the flips and stuff. How many people you got over there running the shop with you?
Well, that's actually funny that you mentioned that, because in this note business you can outsource everything.
Oh, okay.
You can outsource the servicer is your asset managers. Basically, they do the collection, they do the borrower outreach, they deal with the attorneys, they manage all of that.
Really?
Then you have a document custodian that will manage the documents when you buy them from the bank. The original collateral gets shipped to them. They'll cure the broken chain. And, so you just have admin people following up with these vendors just to make sure everything is right. On the property side, of course, we have systems. We use AppFolio. I don't know if you're familiar with that, for our portfolio, where it's just everything is online. Yep. So a person can manage, 200 doors in that system. They can communicate through the system with the tenants. And basically everything is done through email, text, or whatever. And then you have your, general contractor that kind of manage, the property. So, we have a staff of 6, and most of these people are utilized to manage the vendors, and they're admin people as well that kind of handle the task and get everything going. So it really don't take that much. A buddy of mine run a $50 million fund, and he has a staff of 6 people.
Yeah.
So, I was just with him this weekend, and it was like, I got 6 people, and this is the size of my fund. So learning how to leverage those vendors and outsource is key. When I first started, I had like 12 people. It was crazy. Right. So I was managing people, personalities. It was, insanity. But we learn how to leverage the vendors and kind of cut back so we can scale, because that's how you build, manage that scalability factor, is by leveraging your power team, and being able to be more efficient with that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's 6 people to run all of that is pretty incredible. I mean, I knew there was no servicers, but I didn't know there was curers. There are curing companies that would go out there and help you with that. And so it's a nationwide type of deal, because I assume you're buying these notes nationwide.
Absolutely. So the real property that we buy is in 6 counties that I've been investing in the last 18 years. They're local to me. I kind of know the people in town, the inspectors. So we chose to invest in those areas where we knew. The notes nationwide, we buy first and second. So the company we utilize is a company called Metasource. They actually, they're like a document curation company. They'll file assignments, they'll cure the broken chains, they'll do all of that stuff, for us, and, help us make the file clean so we can go through whatever process we need to sell it or to work it out if we go on a legal route. So, and then you have asset managers too that will manage a servicer for you, manage a foreclosure attorney. So we have that as well, which is important for the note side.
Yeah. And that's with your servicing company, or it's a totally different?
No, we have an in-house asset manager because somebody has to manage that servicer.
Yeah.
So the manager manages the servicer. When borrowers want to pay and they send in their financials, we have to review it and let the servicer know, what we approve. If somebody's doing a subordination, we have to approve it. So the things still come to us. The servicer don't have the control, but the asset manager will manage those accounts and kind of build out the expectation for the loan servicer.
Right. Okay. Wow. And you said you're buying in only 6 counties, right? And that's for your local flipping projects. And you mentioned high end before. I mean, what's your typical flip look like?
Well, in 2015, I was doing houses where I was trying to target a 30% return, and these sales were anywhere from $750,000 to $1 million. Now, since days in the market, absorption rate is kind of different in the area where I'm at. I'm in New Jersey, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'm still the #1 foreclosure state. I was telling somebody over the weekend, we took the title from Florida. There's a lot of inventory.
Really?
In northern Jersey, where we're focusing at in 5 counties. And we started off trying to put that high-end product to the market. Now we're down with a sales price of 350 to 650 range. There's a lot of millennials that's buying. They're not looking for $1 million homes. They're looking for 350, 400,000, nicely renovated HVAC. So we're trying to bring that product to the market now, which we know we would turn more around faster, right? Because $1 million house, there's more people looking for 350, 400, 500,000 houses than $1 million house. So, especially with the shift in, economy and the market and everything that's happening.
And what's the medium?
In that area too. What's the what?
What's the medium home value there?
Medium home value in these 5 counties where we are is somewhere close to 350, 375,000. Those are where in the city is that we're targeting for the flips.
Yeah.
So that's where our focus is now. And then on a C-class rentals, medium value is somewhere around 275, 250, somewhere around there for the C-class rentals.
Really? And those are all 1 to 4 family as well?
1 to 4 families. I have a couple of 9 units, some 6 units as well. We just actually took down 8 properties in a tax sale. As more people go from city to city where we are investing at, and it's getting a little bit more competitive, we're just switching the strategy. We just went to a tax sale a couple of months ago. We got 8 properties, 6 family, 4 family, 3 family, 4 2 families on 1 block. So we kind of, just staying in the market in that same areas and adding value. Because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the opportunity zones, the tax benefits that's out now for Ozone.
Mm-mm.
And the Google that you may have some of the areas where you're investing in. This is a tax benefit for investors if they are investing in these areas and revitalizing these areas. If you just Google Ozone, you'll see over the long term, that 10-year period, the benefit an investor will have investing in these areas and revitalizing these areas in the opportunity zones. They call it Ozone. It's huge. And the 5 counties that we're investing in, all of them are in Ozone territory. So, the state signs off in November of this year. So we're looking forward to that. And we're kind of restructuring our fund to cater towards that so the investors can benefit from those tax breaks as well.
Yeah. Oh, I never heard of that. I've heard of certain municipalities and cities providing some sort of tax incentive for investors to come in, but nothing like that. I assume it's based off of, you said it's Ozone opportunity area. So are you required to do certain things like keep it a green remodel or something? Or
yeah, you have to keep it as a 10-year term. You have to keep it, and 90% of the money that is utilized for the real estate have to be deployed in those opportunity zone areas. So I know they have in California, I know in Chicago, New Jersey, they have some Midwest. So you'll see on the map when you Google it, it kind of show you those areas that have been approved. Some states have been approved already. The rest of the states are getting approved this year. And there's some funds that are actually in place, setting up and gearing up now for the bill to be signed off on, so they can just run with it. There's a bill, they're just waiting for the next phase to sign off on it. So,
okay, so this is a federal regulation or guideline that came in that they're
yeah, it's been working on it for a while. I forgot the gentleman who was working on it. I think he's from California, from up in Seattle. Fallout from one of those big funds up there. He made a lot of money, and he kind of put the blueprint together to put this thing in place. So it's something that's been in the works for a long time.
Yeah.
And I discovered it, I think maybe like 8 months ago, and I was like, wow, this is great. So we were structuring. The great thing is that the 5 counties we're investing in are already marked Ozone. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We're already here.
Yeah.
Great. So we just got to restructure the fund so investors can benefit and get these tax breaks. But it's definitely something you should research.
Yeah. I wonder how they determine areas.
Well, probably, the most hardest hit areas that have a lot of vacant properties. I know New Jersey, they targeted the areas that had a lot of vacancies and a lot of the properties to kind of give investors an incentive to come in and rebuild the community.
Right. No, that's cool. You hear all the time that these either city regulators or somebody on the federal level are always bashing on the investors. So it's cool to see a program where they're wanting us to come in, because you see a lot of times they don't want us to come into a certain neighborhood because it Either they don't want the new builds coming in, or for whatever reason don't want to have too many rentals. So it's pretty cool to see those programs coming around.
Yeah, man, it's all for the fearless pursuit of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. um, so you've got notes, and I see why a lot of people like to get in the notes. And you're buying second lien positions. So tell me why you decided to go in the second liens, because most people are fearful of second liens. And it's kind of a topic most investors don't want to talk about, especially lenders. So what made you dive into second liens, aside from the fact that there's typically a better return if you can pull it off?
Well, for me, it was diversity. If I can invest in an asset class that was new to me and have more diversity to play with, then, the fear comes down. Because when I got started, 100,000 would get me 10 assets. And the second mortgages give me an option on a property, a better property. For example, if I'm buying first, most of the play in first, and guys, you may know who's in the space, they're buying first mortgages in areas where the value is 100,000 or less.
Yep.
This way, they can deploy a couple 100,000 and get a nice small pool and start doing the investment that way. For me, but those quality of houses are different. Like, $100,000, $75,000 house or $40,000 house in Ohio, and you're going to deploy $25,000, 50, 60% of the value, versus you're taking that $60,000 and you're able to get 3 seconds that may have a loan balance of $40,000 each or whatever on a $350,000 house. Right now, we're talking about a different type of borrower.
Yeah.
We're talking about having an option on a better piece of property. So this is more of an option play, and it's more of a the end game is not to foreclose on a home. Like if we foreclose, we fail. We want the payment. Where when I started to buy more first, I noticed my REO percentage went when I just had seconds from 10 to 15% to 45%. So now to me, first mortgage is the property play. When I'm going to buy first mortgages, I'm thinking about taking that property back, maybe structuring an owner finance to some boots on the ground guy down there that does that, and trying to recapture that, banker structure that way, or just pulling it off and, or if rehabbing it, renting it, or whatever. With the seconds, for me, getting in the note business and trying to understand it, was more diversity, and I had options on better quality properties.
Yeah.
And in the first 10 months, I made like 40% yield. I mean, going back to 2012, and I was like, wow. So I was able to take those 6 to 7, 8 case studies to investors that were investing with me on real property, and show them how I did all this from laptop and cell phone in this shorter period of time. And I helped homeowners also and share my discount. They were like, wow, let's do this now. After I had the arrows in my back already.
Right.
Let's do this now. But it taught me how to build my processes. And that goes back to some of the things that we spoke about earlier when you was like, wow, 6 people, how do you do that? I ran into a lot of troubles with scalability, learning how to really scale the business, because seconds, you get more assets for a little bit of money. And then you have to manage all these assets. So putting process mapping, mind mapping, whatever people call them, putting these systems and stuff in place and then executing on them is very important. Mm-hmm. And that's how we've been able to scale. But seconds, to me, seconds come first. It's this big thing out there. First, second, they're both great investment strategy. Seconds allow you to get drunk off yields,
right?
The higher.
Yeah.
But where first is more, when I started to buy first, I started to raise more capital. People kind of understand first mortgages, second mortgage, and education. We've seen people from first mortgages jump into second mortgage investments, and that's why it's so competitive now, because they get it. And having a mixture of both is pretty healthy in your portfolio.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question is I understand the note business structure and why people buy either a performing or non-performing, but I can't wrap my head around it. I haven't heard of too many people doing the second position buying. How is that structured, and how do you capitalize on something like that? So if you're buying, to me, when I think about second position, I think about the first-time home buyer FHA assisted programs where they'll do, say, on a $120,000 house, they'll do a $100,000 first lien, physician note, and then they'll put a $20,000 on the back side of it. Are you buying that 20,000 on the back side?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So for that 20,000, it may cost me $3,500.
Yeah.
That $20,000 defaulted loan, and that $20,000 defaulted loan may not have been paid for 5 years. So it may be another $6,000 or $7,000 in arrears interest on that loan. So what happened is when they have that loan that has the arrears, basically now I have that $7,000, $8,000 in arrears that I can actually work with the homeowner and restructure that.
Yeah.
And some arrears back, and that can put me into an infinite return situation because now I got my capital back that I may have for acquisition, foreclosure, and everything else. And then I can work out a payment with the homeowner, maybe $100 a month. Now, the scenario that you face is, what is this homeowner paying on their first mortgage? What is the rent in the area? Right. So let's say, for example, that first mortgage you said was $100,000, $120,000. They may be paying $800 a month, right? Rents in that area for a 3-bedroom, two bathroom house may be $1,500, $1,200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And structure a payment that's in line with what it would cost them if they was to move to somewhere else and rent. They're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
If I'm looking at their credit report and I see maybe they had a hiccup when the market crashed, but everything is on time. Maybe they found bankruptcy in 2009. Now everything is on time. The probability factor is the borrower is going to be able to work it out, right? Because they don't want to make their credit late. They rebuild their score. I'm the only debt that they're not paying. So there's a high probability that I'm going to work this out. So see, these are some of the things that I look at when I'm analyzing, a purchase. So I'm looking at to see, the health of the borrower, where they are with paying the rest of their bills, and with the first mortgages versus the rent. If there's any bankruptcy. I actually like bankruptcy deals because I can see more from the borrower. I can see if they have IRAs. They have to disclose all the information.
Yeah, really? Okay.
It's really good investment. I think if people just educate themselves more in it, the fear will come down. They learn how to mitigate the risk.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's a great investment. I don't know any other type of investment that's out there that have a high double-digit yield.
Mm-hmm.
There's some risk involved also. You can be stripped in bankruptcy. You can be foreclosed on from the first. I always joke and say I like when I get foreclosed on because that offset my gains. I like when I get stripped in bankruptcy. I like those losses. At the end of the year, I'm looking for what can I book charge to go, the income, So if you buy one and you lose, then it's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Buying in the pool is almost like that Vegas concept, right?
Yeah. And so I've heard that as a second lien position holder, is there a way? So I'm trying to think of how it was explained to me. So as a second lien position, if you are in default with the homeowner, you could actually reach out to the first lien position and take that over. Did I hear that properly?
Well, you could take it subject to. So let's say, example, the borrower is hit in the sand. They don't want to work out anything with you. Mm-hmm. You can go down a foreclosure path. And if you get a sell date and you go to the sell, you can take the property subject to the first. It's the same scenario like a subject to deal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
As investors, we go to somebody and say, hey, I know you're selling your house. I'm going to give you $50,000 now, and I'm going to set it up in the trust, and I'm going to be the main person on this, and I'm going to take this over subject to your first mortgage.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same scenario. When I foreclose, I'm going to take the property subject to the first. I'm going to continue to pay the first mortgage. I can choose to. It's not in my name. I didn't sign the note. I'm not going to pay for it. But if there's an arbitrage to be made, I'm going to continue to pay the first and rent it out and collect that money.
Yeah.
The borrower has been in the house for more than 10 years, more than likely. Now they're paying towards the principal. So, and the value is increasing. So that's the whole concept with that. Even I buy stuff, even negative equity. I buy stuff where it's a 130 CLTV. And people say, why would you buy that? Like, if you foreclose, what do? I can rent it out and get the arbitrage from the market rent versus what I'm paying on the first.
Yeah.
So, and I may need that loss. I may need that depreciation for, whatever I'm doing, what I'm selling in this portfolio. I may need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. The arbitrage gap there. And then you could always go, well, maybe not necessarily with the underwater ones, but the more you keep, the more, because I assume you sell out the notes as well to some investors, or is your
Oh, absolutely,
yeah
absolutely,
yeah
absolutely. They're sold. So usually, what we do is we'll take down a trade, and then we know investors that are like hot and heavy for certain states.
yeah
So for us to recapitalize on the trade, we'll put stuff out. They'll buy it. We'll recapitalize a certain percentage of our trade, and we'll work the rest, and pretty much go from there.
right? So you'll stabilize it, correct, to get the homeowner back in line with everything, and then sell it 6 months, 12 months.
We typically don't sell too many reperformers. What we do is another strategy. There's two things you can do, and this is one of them is the reason why I fell in love with the note business, and it was the partial, where you can actually
Oh yeah, two.
sell off a portion of the loan. So let's say I restructure something, do a workout, and I set a 30-year term, and the borrower is paying. I can sell off 200 months of payments to an investor.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, after those 200 months, the loan comes back to me. That's one strategy. When I learned that, I was like, wow, I definitely want to be in this business. That's something
Right.
I want to try to get involved in.
Yeah.
The other one, which we actually do to leverage the performers, is we do what's called a collateral assignment, and it's a hypothecation strategy. I purchased that $20,000 note you referenced earlier. It cost me $3,500. I set up a situation where the borrower, I waive the arrears, they give me $3,500, and I reset them with the $300 a month payment. So now I'm whole, everything is good, I'm getting cash flow. 6 months later, now I have this at a third-party servicing where I can prove to you, the buyer, listen, this is a third-party service collecting this payment. Here are the frequency of what the borrower is paying. Here is the financial package on the borrower to show the stability of them being able to make the payment. I want to borrow against this loan, right? It's a cash flowing asset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use an instrument called the collateral assignment to borrow money from you on this loan, and I'm going to pay you, maybe I'm yielding a 16%, I'm going to pay you 10% or 8%, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Now you get to loan against this performing asset, and I just hypothecated the asset. Now I can go out and do the same process again. I can maybe borrow $10,000 from you on this asset at a 10%, right? Now that monthly payment I'm getting in, I'm paying you $100 a month. Maybe I'm getting $300 a month, and so there's an arbitrage in the monthly payment. And then you have a $10,000 lien against this asset. I can then sell it. I can, maybe your term is 2 years. After that, I pay you back. Whatever it is, we can hypothecate it. So these are things that you can do with performing notes. And I was blown away when I learned that strategy. I was like, wow.
Yeah. No, I hadn't heard that one before. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard the two notes.
There's more. We don't have enough time right now.
No.
It's like that bank mindset and doing things like and moving how the banks move is like it's just so incredible, and that's what I love about the paper business because, it's the next level.
Yeah, and you don't have Appfolio managing this side of the business. What do you use to manage this side of the business?
Yeah, Appfolio. Some services you can leverage their platform like FCI, TrustFCI.com. They're one of the services we use. They have their platform you can leverage partials and actually do that whole structure for you. You can sell a loan at a different yield and get a percentage of the yield every month. There's so many things you can do. And the collateral assignment is something we track in-house. Use Excel. It's really not too hard.
Right. It just went right over my the notes I kind of get, but man, that is like because flipping to me is easy. The rentals, all this is easy, but the notes is, simply just because I don't understand it. But it seems like it's like a totally different level of investing. But
no, it's not that tough, man. It's just being around the industry and understanding it more. There's tons of content online now. Like when I got started, it really wasn't much. Online, but now everybody's a note guru, so you can find.
Right. Yeah, I know several of them. Yeah.
Really, plenty of content online.
Yeah. And just for the general audience, you don't have to go out and build a fund to go buy these things. You can buy.
No. Yeah. You can do it from your IRA, your Roth, your traditional IRA. And that's one thing I like about seconds. For, $20,000, $25,000, you can be in the game, get a couple of assets and work with first, I don't know how many assets you're going to get with 25,000. You may get one or two if it's in Indiana somewhere and the value of the property is, 40,000. But do you really want to do that? So, or you could do joint ventures with people and, leverage your capital with theirs and, take the plunge together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I first started hearing about notes sometime early this year when I started hanging out with Quincy and his crew over at
Oh,
Quest
yeah.
IRA.
Yeah. I'll be there actually next week, Tuesday. I'm at the $1 Trillion Mixer in Houston.
Oh,
I'm speaking on hypothecation of notes.
oh,
So,
really? Oh, it'll be in Houston though?
yeah, we'll be in Houston at the $1 Trillion Mixer.
Gotcha. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that one.
Yeah, I'm on the 9th, I believe. Yep, that Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah. I get back from a little mini vacation on that morning, so I don't think I can make it down there. But
Well, I'm pretty sure they record it, and I'm definitely going to do a live Facebook or something. So,
yeah.
To you.
Well, now I follow you on Facebook, so I'll see it.
Appreciate it. We just launched also PFREI, a passion for real estate investment. This is my first podcast. I'm going to speak on notes, rentals, and flips. So I'll be interviewing people who's in the space, and it's something I created and just launched it last week Thursday, and we had a great response over this week. And we was at the Distress Mortgage Expo in New Jersey. We batched up some interviews and we gave out some free T-shirts. We had a great response. So this is an educational platform that I created. Not one of the mentors in the space or an educator. I just like sharing with people my experience in the business and bringing others on that can help somebody new get in the business or somebody who's experienced learn more nuggets, right? So this platform essentially was created for attorneys, SEC attorneys, foreclosure attorneys, accountants, these professionals to come on and advise people on the Facebook page. Because I see so many people giving legal information, accounting information. They're not legal professionals. So I reached out to people that I do business with and say, hey, I want to create this platform. Will you come and add value? It's a way for you to bring business back to yourself and also add value to straighten people out. Give real information on, accounting, SEC stuff, and joint ventures and stuff like that. So that's why it was birthed. And then the second layer is bringing experienced people on to kind of add value. And this helps the neophytes. It also helps experienced people kind of grow. So that's what the platform is. Anybody who's passionate for real estate investing.
Right.
It's PFREI.co. And, we will be launching our first podcast. We batched up like 8, so we're going through the editing process, and then we'll be launching them soon. So,
yeah, passionate for me. Just write all this down because
passionate for real estate investment. You're passionate. You wouldn't be doing it if you wasn't passionate.
Right. No, that's why I started it. Mine is primarily I have a lot of real estate investors on through all the different niches, but I started for or to bring on anybody in the entrepreneur world. And so I've had on motivational speakers, fitness guys, supplement manufacturing people. So I started it to give back. It wasn't just last year I had a negative bank account, and so I'm trying to get the word out for aspiring entrepreneurs and whether even they may not even want to be in real estate at all, which is why all entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's important to really add back and, let people know and kind of share that. So I think that, this is great. I love what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing. This is great. Yeah,
no, I appreciate it. Well, notes and everything about it could take months to talk about, so I won't keep you too long. But if anybody wants to reach out and get a hold of you and ask you questions about the fund or notes or anything, is Facebook that best role there?
Yeah, Facebook is good. You catch me on Facebook, catch me on Instagram too. On my
Instagram. All right.
What's up?
Let me find it.
I just got on social media like 2 months ago. It was funny. A buddy of mine kept telling me, you need to get a Facebook account. I was like, I don't have time for that. It takes time. I'm telling you, the things you're doing, you're out doing rehabs, you're doing this, you're doing that. That's inspiring to some people. So I set up a Facebook account 2 months ago, and I just been on it. I set up I have my 16-year-old son set up my IG account, my Snapchat. That he helped me manage that and get that set up.
Yeah,
it's important. So they can catch me on social media. You can Google my name in YouTube, and you can see the renovations and stuff that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. If you're interested in the fund, you can go to info at nngcapitalfund.com, or you go to nngcapitalfund.com and see information there for any accredited investors that are interested in becoming a strategic partner. That's great. And then, of course, PFREI.co is the educational platform. They can register there for free and get access to the podcast and stuff that we deliver.
Awesome. And then I ask everybody the same question at the end. If you had 6 months to live, what do you think you would do with it?
6 months to live. That's a good question. I live every day like I'm living it now.
Yeah.
Getting the best about it every hour, every second. I think it's important, to be in the moment and kind of don't really. A lot of people kind of plan for the future when it's now that count.
Yep.
So I'll live my life like I'm living it now, fulfilling and getting the best out of every second, every day.
Awesome.
It's 6 months or 1 month. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always try to bring people into the
I
now.
like that question.
Yeah. But some people, I mean, like you said, they're thinking really far out, but tomorrow you may get in an accident and you can't walk anymore. So, I mean, are you doing today what you want to be doing, what you're meant to be doing? This life is too short to.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to put certain investments in things in place. So you're not bagging groceries when you're
Right. Yeah.
the market. But in the now is important. So even with the time I spend with my kids and the way my day is structured, I kind of make sure that every day count, man, every second.
Yep. Indeed. Well, man, I appreciate it. I'll link contact information down below. Again, I appreciate it. We could talk about notes for months on end and still not learn at all. The same thing with anything in real estate. That's why another reason why I think we both started these podcasts is because I'm always learning. I want to learn. I learned a ton from today. I mean, I didn't know half the stuff about these notes. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing it.
No problem, man. I definitely appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. All right.
Okay.
Bye.